welcome to my run. Like last time, I am leaving super late from the gym. It's like, I don't know, 5:45 or something. It's gonna be dark really soon. So I'm doing my vlog much earlier than I would be doing on my run normally. But this is the thing, like, training is more or less the same every day. Like, you do kind of the same things every day. The bar. Which is really good because you need like consistency. You need to do the same things over and over again in order to kind of like build skills, strength, all that stuff. But within something being the same every day, there's a lot of variance. There's a lot of things that change when you do something every day. So waiting for my clinching partner to come back from school, like sometimes he's delayed, sometimes he just doesn't come at all, which really pisses my trainer off. But it is what it is. But so in the time that I was shadowboxing, waiting for my time on the pads, and then shadowboxing again, waiting for my time for clinching, I was like watching other people be trained, right? And I think about this a lot because I learn from Thais. I've been in Thailand for 11 years. This is where my Muay Thai comes from. All my training has been here, basically. Like, Master K is Thai, so even prior to coming to Thailand, my trainer was Thai. But really, all my Muay Thai comes from Thailand. And I see Westerners being trained all the time, and I see how Thai kids are trained, and I see this like complete different approach between how Thais train Thais and how Thais train Westerners. And I know the Westerners love to assume that we get like the shaft end of the stick, that like Thais don't care because we're not real fighters and blah blah blah, like they can't make money off of us, blah blah blah. This is actually bullshit. Like, Thai kids, they're in for the long haul. Like, Thai kids are in what Kevin and I call the slow cook. Hey puppy! Hi honey! Hi sweet baby! No? Okay. He's nervous. I'm nervous. That's okay. But Thais are in it for the long haul. Like, you get a kid, you assume you have years and years and years to build this kid. So there's no rush to it. There's no like hyper fixation on getting the technique right this time, or kind of like breaking it down of like, this is the progression of how you learn things. It's not like that at all. It's basically this like, over the course of many years of training this person, they will either give up, and I will not have invested a lot of energy into them, or they'll keep at it. The river over the stone will work out all of the things that aren't really working. We'll start getting them fighting. And in the process of fighting and training and correcting all of these things, you just become a great fighter. And then when you show a little bit of dedication and promise, and they've put some time into you, then they put a lot of time and effort into you. It becomes a big investment. And that's when you get your heart broken because your student gets, stolen by a bigger gym or something like that. But so the way that Westerners are taught, like watching how Westerners are taught and then watching how Westerners expect to be taught, so those are two different things. It's very interesting to me. Like, it's endlessly interesting to me to watch how people are not understanding something, or how someone is trying to relay what they're trying to teach. Sometimes very badly, like sometimes not explaining or demonstrating it very well. But I feel like the worst teachers that I've seen, and it's the same thing as like the worst students, is they try to make everything very verbal. And I cannot stress this enough, and I've said this many times in various ways. I've said this in the Muay Thai library, I've said this in my vlogs, I've said this to people personally. Muay Thai is not verbal. Like, it's kind of crazy for me to be saying, because I fucking verbalize everything. Like, what people find valuable about me is that I have the Thai pedagogy, like I learn it the Thai style, and then because I'm articulate, because I think a certain way, because I am Western, grew up with Western thinking, I still think like a Westerner, I can put it into words and I can describe things in a way that's really helpful for people who, need something described to them, or use words to kind of understand what they're doing. That's all great. I am also very, very verbal. But when you rely on it, rather than using it as like a clarification or kind of like an embellishment to what you're doing, I think that's a problem. I think that's a big problem. And this is both with teachers and with students. There are some teachers who just talk and talk and talk, and they try to verbalize everything, and it's a distraction from what they're actually doing. If they would just shut up and have their student watch what they want them to do, and the student understood, I'm not trying to get this verbally anymore, so now I'm going to watch and see what they want me to do, it would clarify a lot. And I do have to acknowledge something here in how I'm saying that I'm very verbal, and I translate things into words, and this is kind of like what I do. I was not as good at watching at the beginning as I am now, because it takes a very, very long time to learn what you should look for. But I did learn it early. Like, it didn't take me years. It just has gotten better over time. But very early on, I knew to watch Master K's feet. I knew to watch his like hip and shoulder alignment. I knew that all his power is coming from his legs. This was kind of intuitive, and it really helped me. This was kind of not the best thing, because I knew where to look without consciously knowing where to look, because I knew where to look, and I'm really good at imitation. I'm like athletically gifted in imitation. I would learn something really quickly, but not really understand it. And so I'd have like a little pop of improvement, and it's like, oh, what a genius student, she's gonna learn so fast. And then really long plateaus, like just really, really deep, long plateaus, because the understanding isn't real. Like, I get it quick, and then I'm not actually able to do it for a really long time. And you'll see this in the Muay Thai library quite a lot when I like really just don't get something. And I'm still like this. So one of the reasons the long form format, one of the reasons the long form format works the way that it does is because I do not get things right away. And so you get the benefit as a student of watching the teacher have to like correct me and reteach me and make adjustments and things like this. Like, I don't get things straight away. If I had to have teachers explain something to me and didn't know to look at them, I would never get it. I verbalize it. I turn it into words because I'm translating people. When you watch the Muay Thai library, and you're watching a session with me, with someone, and I'm explaining what he's teaching me, sometimes I'm translating something that they're saying from Thai. But most of the time, they are not saying in Thai anything to do with what they're teaching me, other than that they want it like faster, or they'll use a descriptive word that like the word nen. I had to figure out what nen meant through context, because what it actually means is like tight. But what it means in the context is to make something explosive and tight, the way that you'd be like, ooh, tight, like what a tight shot that was, like, oh, tight, that kind of tight, not like be tense. So it's this thing where like I have had people ask me what gym they should go to because they want a trainer who speaks really good English. And the reason they want a trainer who speaks really good English is because they want to be able to ask them questions, and they want to be able to have that teacher verbalize to them so that they feel like they're learning something really well. And I understand this. I am very verbal. I get that. But I think it's a disservice. There's a kid at my gym right now. He's in his 20s. He's not really a kid. But he doesn't speak Thai very well. Like, he's learning, but he misses most. And we were talking one time, and he was like, we were talking about this, and he's like, I feel like I've actually really benefited from not speaking Thai, because then I have to figure it out from what they're actually doing, from what they're showing me. Because again, Thais are not actually describing to you really articulately, verbally, what it is you're supposed to do. So you need to cut that out and watch what they're doing. And I think that there's this thing that happens where, like, when someone does speak English, or your language, whatever your language is, and they start verbalizing to you and explaining to you, you're understanding their words, and so you think you're getting this like deep understanding of what it is that they're showing you. You're understanding the words, you are understanding it, but it is not a like, oh my god, this is so much clearer now. You can't do it any better than if you had just understood where to look. Like, if they had just showed you where to look, you would understand it probably better and be able to get to it faster than you just like intellectually understanding what it is that they're trying to show you. I know this from speaking Thai. I know this from speaking English. I know this from watching trainers who do speak English and what they're explaining versus what they're actually showing. or what they actually want. And there are people who talk an incredible lot and don't actually say shit to do with what they're actually trying to get their student to do, which is kind of amazing. So all of this rant, as the sun is going down, I'm afraid I'm getting really blurry, so I'm going to turn this off. All of this rant is to say, Muay Thai is not verbal. So yes, couple it with words. I love words. I talk a lot. Like, the beauty of language. I feel like I describe things well. I feel like when I tell someone, like, they're not getting something and I pinpoint the thing, and they're like, oh, now I get it. My verbiage helps a little bit, because I can, like, choose a word that helps them understand, but really it's just pinpointing the physical part that they should be focusing on of the person who's trying to teach them. And there's this thing that I kind of started to understand for the first time in earnest when I started weightlifting, which I never really did before, but I got injured, and so I started weightlifting instead of training because I couldn't do Muay Thai. And I got this understanding of, like, the mind-body connection. And, like, I'd never really appreciated it from Muay Thai before, but I really understood it with weightlifting, which was like, where should I feel this, you know? You can look online, you can look at photos and, like, short videos, or even like a pictorial of how to do a deadlift or an RDL or something. But you need to talk to someone, or you need to, like, kind of really understand, where should I be feeling this? And when you feel exactly the muscle that you're supposed to be engaging, when you're like, oh, when I squat, I should be lifting with my feet planted into the ground, my thighs really burning rather than, like, my lower back hurts. These things are important. That kind of verbal thing, like, this is where you should feel it, that part's really important. Describing really eloquently and beautifully what it is to feel the, like, burn in your thighs versus your back is not what weightlifting is. And it's the same thing with Muay Thai. If you have someone who can describe to you where you should be feeling the rotation on a kick, or the power in a knee, or the trajectory of a punch, beautiful, beautiful. But it is not an eloquence, it is not verbiage. You can watch, you can see where someone's weight transfer is. And when you see where their weight transfer is, when you see what's actually driving the kick, you can see the rotation, you see the overall root, that, I think, like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That, I think, is much, much better. So stop trying to verbalize everything and really, really learn how to watch. That's what I'm yapping about. That's what I'm saying a lot because I don't have a picture to describe that.